Hello from this end of the divide. This is Kola Johnson. Welcome to the program. As you know it, this is another Tuesday, awesome Tuesday of knowledge and insight, where we talk about leadership, technology, and the future. And again, I'm your host, Kola Johnson. And today we are unpacking a question every leader must answer. Yes, that's what we're doing. And that question is, how do you move from vision to execution in a world that is changing faster than ever? So that is a very important question. For the past 4 weeks, this is week 5, we've been talking about AI and the evolution. So we want to move into something in the same line of technology. How do you build with vision? How do you move from vision to execution? And our conversation is titled From Vision to Execution, Building Future Ready and Innovative Driven Organizations. So come closer. We have a very important topic to talk about, and we'll explore what vision really is, how leadership has evolved from the steam engine to artificial intelligence. We've been talking about this for a while, and how organizations build lasting visions and scale globally. And we want to look at how to validate feasibility, and crucially, how leaders make their organization future ready and genuinely innovate. I will bring in findings from verified research so you can test these ideas in practice. So whatever we are doing, we're going to be talking in different light, and I want you to just sit down and have a good ride with me. This program is going to be a power pack program, insightful, and it will bring so much knowledge for you, so that we are not just vision driven people. Yes, it's good to be visionary, but it's more important that we know how to execute this vision. And it's good to be innovative, but it's also good to understand how feasible an innovation is, so that you are not just innovating something that the society does not really need. You see, when you are building business, as a matter of fact, one of the things you must understand is, how do you then innovate in a manner that validates that product you are trying to build, or that business you are trying to build. And that's what feasibility study does to your business. And before we go on, I would like to tell you about Amogate Consulting, because this program is on Amogate Radio Communication, a branch of Amogate Consulting. And at Amogate Consulting, we are the bridge between your company's vision and execution. So we are so much big on execution, we are so big on strategy, because we understand that these two things are a very important tool in any business: vision, strategy, but importantly execution. You have the vision, we can clarify it for you and see you through the execution phase. So we don't just tell you this is how you can execute. We walk you through it, we hold your hand through it, because we believe that vision is good, but execution is king. So ride with me as we continue this program. What is vision? And what does it do? Why do you need vision? What is vision? What does it do to you? I like to start with something very simple, and that is answering the question of what is vision. In everyday terms, vision is clear picture of a desired future state. That is a description of where an organization intends to be and why that future matters. It is directive, it points everyone in the same direction, and motivational. It helps people commit to something bigger than their day-to-day task. So vision is like what you place before you. Vision is like a bull's eye you place before you, and you are walking the path towards, everybody can align towards that particular bull's eye. That's what vision is. So vision is very important, because it gives you clarity of direction, it gives you proper direction for your life. So you see, even as an individual, you need a vision for your life. I can't stress that enough, not to talk of you as a leader. You as the leader must provide vision, and after providing the vision, you must drive everybody towards that vision. As a matter of fact, if your vision is clear enough, everybody in the organization will follow, because humans by nature will like to see a goal and to put in all our energy to achieving that goal. When vision is well crafted, it is both inspiring and credible. It doesn't float in the cloud. It has anchors, beliefs, priorities, and the first practical step that make it believable. So, and that is why you remember when I started, I talked about feasibility study, that so that you don't just have a vision, it must be believable. So that you don't just say, oh, I will do this, it must be believable. And that means there are practical steps towards achieving that same vision. You have practical steps that will help you achieve that same vision. Research into organizational strategy and agility shows that vision works as a north star. It focuses decisions, helps allocate scarce resources, and aligns teams across complexity. And this is very important, very, very important, very important. I mean, think about that for a moment. Think about that for a moment. Vision isn't wishful thinking. It's a hypothesis about the future that you intend to test and build towards. It's a hypothesis towards about the future that you intend to test and build towards. You see now, so when we talk about vision, don't think of something like a wishful thinking. Oh, I wish. Like they say, if wishes were horses, every other person will ride on them, But you see, vision is not wishful thinking. As a matter of fact, the process of crafting a vision is so much work on its own. It's so much work on its own. That process of crafting a vision, it is so much work, I know you really want to take your time to build a vision. In that sense, you really want to take your time to build that vision. And let's look into the issues of, I want to briefly talk about agricultural market. The agricultural market, very powerful thing I want to talk about here. The agricultural market, and I want to look at industrial production and networked platforms and autonomous ecosystem. So just follow this program. It's a very important program. I mean, it's very interesting and it will cause a shift in your life. So just let's go on. If we look at economic history through a different lens, we can trace four broad waves of organizational architecture and leadership demand, each of them reshaping what kind of leadership and system succeed. Leadership and systems succeed. You see that now. So, and that is what we want to look at now. And the first one is agricultural market era. That's pre-industrial revolution, but majorly agricultural market era. In this phase, economies were local, production was manual and small scale, trade was regional, and leadership was based on direct supervision of labor, close knowledge of the land or craft, and incremental improvement. Organizations, villages, guilds, family farms operated under stable, predictable condition. What does that tell you? The times are changing. If you look at the agricultural system today, it is not the same. It is not the same, and that's why we looked at the pre-industrial era, what agricultural economy or the market looked like in those times. You see, it is more individualistic again, very individualistic, because supervision have to be made on, the supervisor needs to be on ground, and that takes a lot of time. And two is the industrial production era. This era shifted to large-scale manufacturing, standardized output, hierarchical structures, centralized decision-making, and process engineering. Leadership emphasized efficiency, throughput, repeatability, cost control. For example, business process re-engineering and mass production paradigms dominated. That's what happened in those times. Organizations were rewarded for mastery of process, scale, and output. That was how it was in those times. Mastery of process, skill and output. And the third one, we have the networked platform era, which is the 21st century. With the rise of computers, this came with the rise of computers, internet, and digital connectivity. The emphasis moved from mass production to networks, data flows, platforms, and service models. You see, let me just revisit that again, or let me say it in this manner. So it was not much about what we had as mastery of process and skill in those times. It is now more about networks, about data flows, about platforms and service models. Leadership became about managing interconnections, ecosystems, information, and rapid iteration. Organizations that held large networks and could scale platforms thrived. That was how they thrived in those times. Research on agile transformation and dynamic system highlight that business model shifted from rigid push production to fluid responsive models. So this looks like what you know, right? I understand. It sounds like what I know too. And the fourth one is the autonomous ecosystem era, which is today and going forward. And that's why this topic is looking at the future, and this is the emphasis. Autonomous ecosystem era. We now enter a world of dense connectivity, automation, artificial intelligence, decentralized decision making, and autonomous systems. Leadership must now deal with ecosystems of machines and humans, continuous learning, safe experimentation, and fluid teams rather than fixed hierarchies. Do you remember, maybe you remember, when we had a time in 2020 COVID, when we were now dealing with things around remote systems of working and all of those things. You see now, so the dynamics have changed. The leadership system must now be fluid. You see, even up to now, we have hybrid. I mean, there was nothing like this before the 2020, before COVID. There was no remote, there was no hybrid. Even if there was, it was just there. It was not really a thing. But now we are at that stage where artificial intelligence is now automating a lot of things. Entry level roles are now being given to artificial intelligence, and they do it better. You see now, so leadership is now more fluid and more must now take on human face. So that's what it is. A study on leadership in transition from 4.0 to 5.0 emphasizes features like human-centered leadership, ICT competence, complexity, adaptability, and sustainability. In this era, you can't simply upgrade your tools. You must redesign your architecture, structure, values, culture, processes, because the rules have changed, and you must understand that the rules have changed. And these are the key implementation to this. I want you to take note of this. The key implementation for organizations and leaders. Leadership must no longer is simply command and control. I've said this over and over. In the network platform autonomous system eras, leadership becomes about enabling, sensing, learning, orchestrating networks of talent and technology. Organizational architecture must shift too. The rigid hierarchies of the industrial production era are poorly suited for the speed, ambiguity, and decentralization of the autonomous ecosystem era. You see now, research on doing agile versus being agile stresses that culture, structure, and mindset needs transformation. So this is research based. Skill and capabilities require change from mass supervision and process to network orchestration, digital literacy, experimentation mindset, and team autonomy. The competitive advantage moves from skill and physical access to adaptability, platform value, learning speed, and meaningful human tech integration. These are the things we now have. These are the implications. Now I want to talk of building a lasting vision, and look at steps that actually work. So how do you build a vision that truly lasts? that can take you from local to global if necessary, and that survives change. Now let's break it down in practical steps. Number one, root the vision in real insight. Talking about observation, please take note of these things. Take note of this. Root the vision in real insight, that is observation. A credible vision starts from studying the world, customer behavior, market signals, technology trends. The leader's job is to notice structural shift before competitors do. Research on organizational agility shows firms that prioritize sensing and interpretation of external signals are more likely to mobilize successfully. Don't be caught in the former when the train have moved. Don't be caught in the former when the train have moved. Be observant, know where the world is going to, and shift towards it, because people will not wait for you. They will not wait for you. All right. Number two, frame a bold but testable ambition. That is, make sure it's workings, or it's a contribution of both imagination and hypothesis. All right. Your vision needs stretch. It should answer what meaningful change will we make, but make it testable. Convert parts of that vision into hypothesis you can validate with experiment, and that is why I say it is practical, so that we are not just building vision, we are also building credible vision that can work. Academic work on innovation culture emphasizes turning big ideas into smaller, testable initiatives rather than relying solely on top-down mandates. So how can you break your vision down? Oh, you have that big gigantic vision. How can you break it down into small bits, testable? In the tech world, it is called MVP. You have a vision to build a very powerful product. What is the MVP? Minimum viable product. All right, minimum but viable. Minimum viable. All right. Number three, validate with rapid experiment, and that is called validation. Use small pilots, customer prototypes, and rapid learning cycles to check whether core assumptions hold. Research into innovation capability highlights the central role of experimentation and early validation in preventing expensive failures later. Very powerful. Number four, build the capabilities, and that is execution. Vision becomes reality through capabilities. People, processes, and technology working together. Studies that explore the relationship between innovation capability and organizational effectiveness show that capability building, that is skills, tools, culture, mediates whether innovation converts into outcomes. If you invest in capabilities, you increase your odds of execution. If you invest in capabilities, you increase your odds of execution. Powerful. And number five, which is the last one before I move on, is keep learning and adapting. Sustainment, that is, a lasting vision is also adaptive. Organizations that continuously learn and adjust are more resilient and better able to scale their vision to new contexts. The literature of strategic agility stresses the need for structures that allow fast learning and decision cycles. Very powerful. And at this point, I would like to tell you that ASAF, that ASAIF, is our product at Amogate that helps you understand strategy and implementation. Because like I said, we are not just about talk, we are about implementation. We know your needs, we help you implement it with ASAF. You can bank on that. I tell you that you can bank on that. So let's move on now. I hope you've been enjoying this wonderful program on Amogate Radio Communication. Very, very powerful. I want you to be with us as we continue. I want to look at visibility. That's the feasibility, of your vision. So how do you dichotomize between ambition and reality? So that you are not just so ambitious. Yes, vision should be bold and ambitious, but how real it is it testable? Is it real? Can we really say that, can this thing work in the market? Ambition without feasibility is a recipe for cynicism. So how do leaders judge feasibility? Number one, start with capability audit. Ask, what can we do now and what must be built? The empirical work on agility suggests a precise audit across 5 dimensions, that is leadership, culture, structure, process, and technology. It's essential to understand gaps. All right. I usually say this when I speak to people about these things. I would say that allow your customer to determine the kind of product or what future you build on your product. Right. So that is, start with the most minimal, get feedback, build on those feedback. I tell you, you don't know your product like your customers or your clients know it, and that is why you must test your hypothesis. You must test it in the real life. It is called MVP. Number 2, define leading indicators. Very important. Define leading indicators. Instead of only lagging financial metrics, define early indicators tied to capability building. For example, number of experiments run, time to prototype, percent of workforce trained on new skills, and customer adoption rates of pilot offerings. Peer-reviewed studies on organizational effectiveness recommend these kinds of forward-looking metrics to validate progress, and it's very important for us to see, very important for us to look at. And number 3, as I move on, is use staged investment with stage gates. Finance the vision incrementally. Fund early testing with small budgets, then only scale what demonstrate promise. That balances ambition with risk control. A practice supported by innovation, governance, research. Very important. These things I'm saying are very, very important things that we must look into. And I want to briefly move on into innovation. What is it, what it is, and how to tell if you are doing it. Very, very important. I know you will agree with me. Innovation is sometimes used as a catch-all word. Let me be precise. Let's like we say, let's be practical. In organization, innovation means new ways of creating value that are adopted and sustained. It is not only ideation, it is adoption and impact. Research shows that innovation capability, the ability to generate, test, and scale value creating ideas, correlates strongly with organizational effectiveness when mediated by an innovation culture. Very important. So now, how can you tell you are actually innovative? Number 1, you measure adoption, not just ideas. Measure adoption, not just ideas. Count pilots that moved into production and the measurable improvement they delivered. Research emphasis outcomes over ideation count. You see that now. Number 2, you institutionalize experimentation. Teams routinely run experiments, capture learning, and either scale or kill initiatives quickly. This fail fast, learn faster dynamics is a hallmark of innovation culture documented in literature. Yes, this is actually, it's very true. And number 3, your culture supports knowledge sharing and open innovation. You must have that. Studies have shown that knowledge sharing, openness to external partners, and transformational leadership significantly improve organizational agility and innovation performance. Those factors enable creative recombination of ideas into workable solutions. So, being future ready, that is definition and indicators. What does it mean to be future ready? Based on the research evidence, I would just like to give this concise definition. A future ready organization is one that continuously senses change, quickly experiments, builds capabilities, and scales validated innovations while anchoring decision in purpose. That's how I define it. And these are the signs that you are future ready. Number 1, your organization runs continuous small experiments and uses results to guide priorities. Number 2, you have flexible structures that allow cross-functional teams to form and disband around problems. And the other one is leadership invests in capabilities, upgrades, and knowledge sharing as primary strategy, not an HR afterthought. Number 4 is you have defined leading indicators and update them as you learn. Now, if these elements are missing, I believe that your organization is likely trailing rather than shaping. It's just moving at the edge rather than shaping the future, and that's not what you really want. How will then leaders become innovative leaders? Leadership shifts when context shifts. In the old industrial mode, leaders were planners and controllers. In the intelligent age, leaders must be sense makers, capability builders, and architects of learning environments. Peer-reviewed research on transformational leadership and digital transformation shows leaders who support knowledge sharing and empower teams drive greater agility and innovation. And these are the practical behaviors of innovative leaders. Very important. Encourage disciplined experimentation. Make experiments funded, measured, and public. Number 2, cultivate psychological safety. People must feel safe to share ideas and report failures. Systematic reviews on innovation culture note these are decisive. Make external learning routine, open innovation, collaborating with startups, universities or customers. This will accelerate capability building. And the next one is prioritize talent mobility. Rotate people across projects to speed skills and prevent siloed expertise. Try to rotate. Don't just leave somebody in a place for that long. Try to rotate. And at this juncture, I would like us to take a break on Amogate Radio Communication on this program, and we'll be back after this commercial break. My name is Kola Johnson. Thank you for staying with us.
Amogate, founded in 2008 out of a desire to build transgenerational structures for organizations, institutions, and nations. We have worked with large businesses, international development organizations, and public sector ministries and agencies. Amogate, our uniqueness is that we do not just work for you, we work with you. For example, we do not leave you to the task after sourcing talent that will help the new hire settle into robust leadership development programs. We are technical experts in advising and supporting institutions on strategy and leadership, artificial intelligence, strategic human resource management, public sector reform, finance, audit and tax, FAT, and strategic communications. We do all this and more out of a desire to transform nations through institutions and organizations. For further inquiries, email contact@theamogate.org or call +234 810 999 6666, +234 807 957 4151, and +161 0504 6026. www.theamogate.org. Amogate, building to endure and transforming nations through institutions and organizations.
Welcome back to Amogate Radio Communication on this very important program where we are looking at how you can be future ready. And as I continue, please stay with us as we continue on this powerful program. I will just continue by talking about validating vision and tracking progress. You need practical tools to validate your vision continuously. Here's a simple research-backed validation checklist you can use. Number 1, capability gap map. Where are your biggest capability defects relative to the vision? People, tech, process. Use the 5 dimensions from empirical study on agility. Number 2, pilot scorecard. For each experiment, track hypothesis, sample size, outcome metric, and learning. Very important. Number 3, cultural indicators. Measure ideas submission rates, cross team collaboration frequency, and psychological safety surveys. Very important. And the 4th one is leading KPIs. Time to prototype, percentage of workflow trained in key digital skills, and rate of leadership decision cycles shortened. You see that now. If you can't produce credible evidence that experiments are moving forward on at least 2 of these tracks every quarter, your vision may be drifting. I want you to note that very well. Now, from local to global, how do you scale your vision? From local to global, you see, many leaders ask, Can a small or local business become global through vision? The studies say yes, if you create a repeatable model and learn to adapt it locally. And these are the key practices that can help you globalize your product or your organization or your vision. Design for replicability. Turn your value proposition into modular processes and playbooks. Research on organizational effectiveness links standardization of core processes with better scaling outcomes. Provide local adaptation in make sure that it is preserved. Excuse me for that. Make sure that it is preserved. Number 2, build learning loops for each market. Use pilots to validate which elements must be adapted and which say fix. Studies of agile structures show that fast learning cycles in local markets accelerate safe scaling. Number 3, invest in partner ecosystem. Collaborations with local firms, universities or NGOs, accelerate market entry and local legitimacy. Open innovation research documents faster, it documents faster capability building via partnerships, and this is very important for us to know. Now, these are the practical checklists for leaders to act, as you go on. I want you to look into this practical checklist. I will mention 3 of them. Clarify one concrete vision statement. So pick a vision statement and clarify it. I want you to do that this week, in the rest of this week. The second one is map capability gaps, across leadership, culture, structure, process and technology. And the last one I want you to do is set up one cross-functional team to tackle a strategic problem and let them operate with autonomy for 8 to 12 weeks. This is my recommendation to you this week. And again, before I continue, Amogate, at Amogate we help you transform your organization from local to global outlook, one strategy at a time and one execution at a time. We are just a call away. You can reach out to us on any of our platform, across, and let us know what we can do for you, or what we can do for your business. As I begin to bring this to a close, I want to look to leading through transformation. I want to close with a few final thoughts. The world moved from visible machines to invisible systems. That shift forced leaders to change what matters, from commanding resources to guiding learning, from standardization to adaptation, from controlling people to enabling talent and judgment. The research across agility and innovation literature consistently shows that organizations that connect vision with capability building, experimentation and culture outperform those that rely solely on plans or slogans. Slogans are not just it anymore, or plans. There are certain things you must do in that sense. If you want one sentence to take away, vision without capability is hope. Capability without vision is aimless. Vision plus capability plus disciplined experiment is equal to lasting impact. I want you to take that home. I want to appreciate you for staying with me on this powerful program. My name is Kola Johnson. If today's conversation resonates with you, try one of the checklists I outlined. Try it, and you will see the turnover in your organization, in your business, and even your personal life as it is. And this is Amogate Radio Communication. I want to thank you for staying with me. Next week we'll be here again doing the same thing and moving our conversation in another direction, and that will help you as a person. Thank you for staying with me. See you next week again on this program.